The top specialty coffees of Asia. In Asia, drinking coffee is getting increasingly popular. Coffee consumption is increasing not only in China and India, but also in South Korea, Taiwan and Thailand. There is a growing market for premium coffee, and cafes are springing up all around. Coffees from Indonesia, Asia and the Pacific are renowned for their mild acidity and smooth flavors. They're often full-bodied, frequently have earthy undertones, and leave a slightly dry aftertaste. The area is renowned for having lush, fertile soil and a tropical climate that are perfect for growing coffee. Are you interested in learning about the top specialty coffees of Asia? In this video, we're going to be sharing all the delicious and interesting coffee blends that are enjoyed all around the different parts of Asia. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe for more. And now let's get into it. Egg coffee. Egg coffee is a sweet, rich beverage that is typically made in Vietnam by combining strong black coffee, egg yolks, and sweetened condensed milk. Most of the time, coffee is prepared using a traditional Vietnamese fin filter, which involves slowly dripping brewed coffee into a cup. The French Indochina War and the 1950s are when the beverage first appeared. Because milk was limited at the time, a barista by the name of Nhang Vang Jiang chose to substitute eggs. He was employed at the Sofitel Hotel in Hanoi at the time, but after his invention proved a hit, he finally founded his own store, Giang Cafe, which is still operational today and is now owned by his son. Dalgona. Dalgona is a frothy whipped coffee that is served over milk. Similar varieties are popular in various Asian nations, despite the fact that it gained international recognition as a South Korean beverage. In order to make the simplest version of this coffee, combine equal amounts of instant coffee, sugar and water. The mixture is then whipped to a color and texture that resembles caramel. Then milk is ladled on top of it. Actor Jung Il-woo brought the beverage to South Korea after initially trying it in Macau. He was reminded of a common street food in Korea called Dalgona, which is made with melted sugar and baking soda. Kopi tubruk. In Indonesia, kopi tubruk is the most widely consumed coffee. It requires only a quick preparation step in which fine or medium ground coffee is mixed with hot or boiling water. After thoroughly combining the ingredients, the mixture is set aside for a few minutes to allow the coffee grounds to settle to the bottom of the cup. Adding sugar to coffee is optional. Most people like to do so before adding water by combining sugar and coffee grounds. Since both the method and the coffee are extremely similar to Turkish, Greek coffee, it is thought that traders from the Middle East brought this method of preparation. Arabic coffee. Arabic coffee is a customary brew created from Arabica coffee beans with Middle Eastern origins. It has been essential to social life in Arabia since the 15th century. The beverage stands out for its dark hue and distinctively potent, bitter flavor and aroma. Even while coffee is often served straight without sugar, cardamom is frequently added to give it a somewhat lighter taste. Arabic coffee, which is usually served throughout Ramadan as well as at weddings, holidays and funerals, is seen as a symbol of charity, pride and hospitality by the Arab people. Kopi Luwak. The most expensive coffee in the world is sometimes stated as being Indonesian Kopi Luwak. It is manufactured from coffee beans that, before being cleaned, crushed and roasted, are digested and expelled by the civet, a cat-like mammal that is native to Southeast Asia. It is said that the astringency of the coffee beans is lost throughout the animal's digestive process, making the beverage softer, smoother and less bitter. When local farmers were prevented from harvesting coffee for their own use during the Dutch colonial era in the 19th century, the coffee was purportedly discovered. Vietnamese iced coffee. Strong coffee, condensed milk and ice are the main ingredients of Vietnamese iced coffee. It is normally prepared using medium or coarse-ground Vietnamese coffee, usually of the Robusta variety, that has been brewed in a drip fin filter before being slowly poured into the cup. Condensed milk is then added, and the coffee is then poured over ice. Typically, it is offered in a tall glass. There is a variation that simply contains coffee and ice, despite the fact that condensed milk is the most popular ingredient. South Indian coffee. An Indian coffee filter is used to brew coffee using the Indian filter method of preparation. This filter has two chambers, an upper chamber with a perforated bottom for holding ground coffee, and a lower chamber into which slowly drips brewed coffee. This method of brewing yields a full-bodied, highly flavorful coffee that is typically combined with milk and sweetened with sugar. It is typically served in a tumbler with a saucer next to it. Sometimes warm milk and coffee are repeatedly poured from one container to another until the mixture is aerated and frothy. Vietnamese coffee. In Vietnam, coffee culture plays a significant role in daily life. Despite being introduced by French colonists in the middle of the 19th century, coffee soon gained popularity. Now, Vietnam is one of the countries with the highest production and exports of the Robusta coffee variety. Robusta is the variety of bean that is most frequently consumed in Vietnam. The slow and prolonged dark roasting gives it a flavor that is extremely powerful and a texture that is thick. On rare occasions, butter, sugar, and even chocolate and vanilla are added to the beans before they are roasted. Ippo white coffee. Ippo white coffee, strangely enough, isn't actually white coffee. The term is derived from the method of roasting, which involves lightly toasting coffee beans in margarine before grinding and brewing. This roasting method was developed by Hainanese immigrants in Malaysia, who modified the traditional method to produce a coffee beverage with a softer, lightly caramelized flavor. Ippo white coffee should have a thin layer of froth on top and is frequently enhanced with condensed milk. It shouldn't be confused with the more general term white coffee, which can apply to any coffee served with milk or creamer. Turkish coffee. Very strong and rich Turkish coffee is produced by brewing extra finely ground roasted coffee beans with cold water and, optionally, sugar in a traditional coffee pot called a sevse or ibrik until frothy and on the approach of boiling. This distinctive brewing technique, which sets this coffee apart from other varieties and is credited to the Turks, is what gives it its name. Turkish coffee has a powerful flavor with elements of bitterness and is distinguished by a black color, thick foam on the surface, uniform consistency, and correct preparation. As you might anticipate, coffee has never been a widely used beverage in Asia. But everything is altering. Asia has seen a rise in the regular consumption of coffee, which has boosted the region's overall coffee market. Over the past 10 years, the coffee business in Asia has been growing quickly. More and more individuals may now buy a cup of coffee or espresso as Asia's economies continue to expand. The main issue facing the sector right now is how to accommodate this demand without sacrificing quality. Which one of these delicious Asian specialty coffees sounds the best to you? Let us know in the comments section, and keep your eyes peeled for another video from us in the future.